Everyone, happy Saturday. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope you guys, everyone made some money who's watching. We're just going to recap everything I picked for you guys. It's going to be a shorter video. Hopefully last week, I recapped 2 full pages of stocks for you guys. This week, I want to just recap the ones that moved and the ones that I'm in and what I did with how I reacted with what the particular stock did. So we'll jump right into it. /ES, the S&P 500. I didn't call this out in my last video. If you guys remember, I had a mishap with my my account. So I had to delete all my old videos and restart again. So I only have one video posted right now. This would be my second. But my last video, I didn't point this out. But before that, I did point out at the S&P 500. What did I tell you? I was planning on it to hit all-time highs. That's exactly what it did. It's still consolidating right now. We have a very clear resistance right there. It did blow past this one. We have this new resistance at the previous all-time highs. We'll have to pay attention to see what the S&P does from there, which is, it's looking like it's doing nothing but going up. So hopefully we keep seeing that. The one I'm in is Apple. I'm in right now, AAPL. I haven't touched it. I'm not doing anything with it quite yet. We're just waiting for it to move even further. Always, as per usual, I want it to hit the top of my wedge. That's before I can start slowly scaling out. Moving on would be ACVA. There's another one that I was looking at. I don't believe I got in this one, but it's one I spoke about last week. It's at a resistance, and this is the alert right there. This is all we're waiting for before we get into the stock. Is the risk reward still there? Even though it broke past my trend line, which is this descending trend or this descending wedge right here, even though it broke past that wedge, doesn't mean that I can't get in anymore. It has this line of resistance right here. If I zoom in on the hourly, you'll see it a little more clear right there, right? Has that line of resistance. When it breaks that line of resistance, I'll have to adjust my R&R, my risk and reward. Is my risk and reward still worth it at that break point right there? So if I bought it right there, to the top of the wedge is 57%. To the bottom of the wedge, to go back into the wedge below the EMA, which is another one of my indicators, right? To do that, it would be 12%. Is 12 to 57 1 to 3 or more? Yes, it is. So I still have an opportunity for this stock. It is still of value to me, but I would want to see a little bit more volume, and I would want to see that break on the resistance that I have drawn, and before I decide to get in. Another one would be Baidu. I got in double bottom right there. We had that break. We're pulling back a little bit, which is fine. I would want to see, ideally, a pullback to the area of confluence, which is the last break, pretty much. And the last break would be the neckline of that double bottom, correct? That would be the area of confluence. So if it came down like this and bounced right off of that, that is a perfect time right here in this general area where it bounced off. Even better if it bounces off, if the EMA continues to go like that as well. If it bounces off the EMA and bounces off the neckline at the same time, it's a beautiful area of confluence, a perfect time for me to get in, or in this case, I can add to my position right there as well. So Baidu is one. Big C, my biggest loser this week, Big C. I bought in at the break. I had a resistance right there, and I bought in with the anticipation of this small little box right here. Right, we're in the hourly. I'll zoom back out. And unfortunately, this stock didn't go according to plan. That's okay. I'm not mad at that. And it's this is going back to a video I posted a while back that's gone now, unfortunately, about emotions. And I'll have to make another video about emotions as well. But I didn't even though this stock plummeted, not the direction I expected it to, it still followed my plan. I got out when I wanted to get out. I had my stop loss set accordingly. I got out. And so, sure, I took I think it was like an 8% loss, 7% loss. Whatever. It's no big deal because I have endless amounts of opportunities right up here. So many opportunities in the stock market through FinViz and all that stuff that will give me a chance to make that money back. There's no need to rush. There's no need to let my emotions make me feel like, oh man, I just took a loss. I might get back in. Can I get back in on this one? Yes. The reason being why is because although it's below the EMA, that's one thing that's halting me from getting back into the stock. But it is above the break. It is above the top trend line of my descending wedge, which is this red line right here above, right? It's above that. If we get a bounce off that and we break past the EMA again, and something similar to that would be CalX, which I'm gonna get to in a little bit, of getting stopped out and hopping back in. I've always got to be prepared to hop back in because I can get back into this one. Say it breaks the EMA again. Say it breaks this top resistance that I have drawn right here from the hourly, right? If it breaks there, is the risk reward to the top worth it? Well, let's find out. It's about almost 30% to the top, about 28%. To the below this pattern, to this candle right here, where it is right here, it's 8%. 8 times 3 is what? 24, right? Whereas this is 29, 30%. So yes, that is a 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. This is something I can definitely consider getting back in. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set alerts. Set my alert right there, and I'll set alert right here at that break. Guys, excuse me. It's like fall season. I'm getting allergies for some reason. I don't know why. But that's Big C. I'm not mad that I lost in it. I got out nicely, according to plan. Maybe a little bit more than I wanted to, but that's all right. A couple dollars is not going to affect me much. Next would be, let's see, BLDP is another one. This one, we had a break right here. We had a line of resistance. Okay, so let's first talk about this is a descending wedge or a double bottom. I remember talking about this last week or the beginning of the week. I was a little bit confused because it's not a super clear neckline, but you have a line of resistance, a pretty clear one. We just had this little bit of a break right here, but we have a line of resistance and we have these bottoms right here, and we have kind of a descending wedge as well. We broke the descending wedge. The EMA is coming above it, right? We broke the EMA as well. We're pulling back from the resistance that we have. I'll zoom in on the hourly so you guys can see that resistance a little better. See all those touches right there? So we pulled back from the resistance, and now we're above, or hopefully we can be testing not only the EMA, but we can also be testing the above trend line as well that we had broke past. So if we're retesting that and we're bouncing off of that, that would be a nice indication for me to probably get into the stock. Is the risk reward there? So if we bought in at this break, we're coming up to the very top is about 28, 29%. Back to the bottom is about 12%. So it's a little bit more, it is 1 to 3, which is nice. So I can take that. It's a little bit bigger of a risk than what we're used to, right? Because normally we're used to seeing no more than a 10% risk. But that's okay because it's still 1 to 3. That's totally fine. All I have to do is make sure I adjust my position size accordingly. Okay? So that was BLDP. We're still waiting on this one. I have my alerts at that line of resistance right there. All right. Next one would be CNHI. Okay, you guys, this one, symmetrical triangle. We got the break. I did not get in, but I just want to show you guys what's going on with these picks if they're doing good. Again, I'm not going through all of my list. I do have a long list for you guys. I'm just going to go through some of them, the ones that actually made sense and the ones that's worth teaching you guys something. So this one right here, you can see the EMA was trading within the stock rather than above or below the stock, right? This would be below the stock. This would be within the stock right here, right? We're about to break. We broke the pattern in terms of price, and now we're waiting to break the pattern with the EMA. We can go and we can wait for a pullback, or it can just keep running up. Is the R&R there from where it is right now? About 6% to the top, to the bottom, 4.3%. It's not really worth it to me. That's not 1 to 3, so I would reconsider this one, okay? Moving on, CNHI, we got DEN. Oops, that's FRN. DEN. Another break. Is the risk reward there? This one's pretty much, if we were to buy in Monday morning at the open, right? Who knows where it opened, but what if most of the time, let's say it opens right next to where it closed on Friday. So let's say we bought in at the open, right where it is right now. It's already at the top of the symmetrical triangle. Is it really worth it to consider getting to the stock? And honestly, I would reevaluate what I had, analyzed when I first saw this, and I would say, was this even worth it to begin with? If we got the break right here, it's only 7% to the top. I would sell it personally at around 3% stop loss. So that's not a 1 to 3. So I would have reconsidered this, but it is breaking. It is uptrending. So you can get in with probably, very slow gains, but still gains nevertheless. And that'd be nice to see, right? We actually look in the weekly. The weekly is looking really nicely as well. So this thing, it's never really had a descending pattern overall. It's been uptrending for, since it IPO'd in 2020 of September. So, this thing doesn't look like it's going to be turning around. So this could be something you can consider investing in as well, rather than just trading it. Lastly, Riot. R-I-O-T. Riot. Okay, this one right here. We broke. We had a pullback. And where's the pullback? Right at the area of confluence. And this is what I'm waiting for. Tomorrow, if we happen to open above the EMA, above the trend line, I could reconsider getting back in, or not getting back in, because I'm still in it, but I could consider adding to my position. What makes this more, what influences me even more to get into this one would be /BTC. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is insane lately. And Riot blockchains, they have some kind of correlation. I'm not super positive what, but I do know they correlate well together. So typically, if Bitcoin's going to be moving up, so is Riot blockchains as well, RIOT. So Bitcoin's been pulling back. So is Riot. But I like the pullback with Bitcoin because if you take a look, remember, this is the wedge that I drew a while back, right? We drew that wedge right there. We had the break, and now we're pulling back to the EMA. EMA would typically act as a line of support. So if it pulls back, if it bounces and retests EMA, great. It even hit all-time highs too. So who's to say it's not going to continue to go up? Who's to say it's not going to continue to go down? We just have to pay attention and see what's going on with that and adjust our positions accordingly. So Riot, again, right here, we have a break, a pull back to the EMA, a pull back to the area of confluence, right? That's what I want to see. I can either consider getting into this in the open Monday morning, or I might have to cut my losses and get out of the stock. CalX is one that I didn't cut my losses, but I got out for a few reasons. One being primarily being the 25th, which is Monday morning. We are having earnings. I do not want to make the same mistake I made with Chewy, CHWY. I held through earnings and I lost almost all, if not all, of my profits on that stock. And that was one of my biggest winners for 2 months ago. It's one of my biggest winners. And I was pretty upset about that. But that's all right. CalX, I was able to do. I could have done a little bit better, and I'll show you how in a second. But I did get out because of earnings, and that was a smart move. Earnings coming up on Monday. It did pull back, and it broke below the EMA, closed below the EMA, which is a little concerning as well. What I could have done better, though, is zoom in and pay a little bit more attention to that resistance that I have drawn right there. I had so many hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm probably close to 20 hours that gave me time to get out of this stock without having to hurt much of my profits. I still profited, yes, which is, I'm glad to say I profited, but I'm unhappy to say that I lost about roughly 8% in stock profits, if not from the highs, about 10% in profits, whereas I made 10%. So I missed out on 10%. I could have made 20%. At least I still walked away with 10%, so I'm happy with that. But again, I did miss out on some, and that's my fault for not thoroughly paying attention to what the hourly was doing. And I've expressed this before. I've admitted that I do sometimes not pay attention to what's going on during the intraday, which I need to start doing that. It'll give you more evaluation, more more confidence of knowing when to get in and out of the stock. All right. Another one that I'm in that is not doing me too hot would be Riot, which I just expressed. RS. What is that? That's wheat futures. RS. Boom, boom, boom. Break of the descending wedge that I have right there. A lot of these stocks that I'm currently in, earnings is coming up. So I have to make sure I'm paying attention to those earnings too, okay? We have the break of the descending wedge. Zoom in the hourly. I had this drawn right here. It's clearly not even valid anymore. You can see how nasty it is, right? I mean, we could redraw something like this maybe. We have that right there, right? Maybe something like that as well. So more of a broadening pattern. It is on the hourly, you guys. But we have that right there. So, boom, we have a pattern. I'm not confident if that's a pattern. I'll have to refer to the encyclopedia. But look at that. The EMA is pointing up nicely. The stock is uptrending nicely with the break of the EMA. So do have to pay attention with those earnings, okay? Next would be CAT. All right. Break, pull back a little bit, all green days, which is quite nicely. Earnings is coming up on the 28th, so that's in 5 days. We have the break, pulling back. We're above the EMA. EMA is even breaking. EMA is trading below the stock, which is nice to see as well. So if we get a pullback, we could, again, we never know what we're going to do for sure. We have to pay attention to what the stock is doing before we make a move, right? So I can either get into the – sorry, I'm already in. I can either, if it happens to open somewhere negative, I can either get out and take my profits, or I can add to my position depending on how this stock decides it wants to move, right? So always be paying attention to how those things go. You can also – if you don't want to add, you can also just let it ride. And that's probably what I'm going to do to this one because the movement isn't as volatile as I'd like it to be. Lastly, HOMB. And I'll talk about KEX and PSXP. HOMB, we have this trading in a box right here. This happened on Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday, my buddy texted me. He said he got out to put his money in Dogecoin. I ended up not getting in, but adding to this stock in the beginning of the week, somewhere around here. I can't remember. Maybe it was last week. I added to this position. It's doing me quite nicely. We zoom in on the hourly. We have that range that it traded in, correct? And now we're broke above the range, and hopefully we get a bounce above the range where it's at right now. So from here, it just comes right up. That's what we want to see with this. So that's a nice stock that I'm thinking is very nice. I'm enjoying it a lot. KEX is another one that I'm in. KEX is going nice. It's going up nicely. What more can I say about this one? If I get a pullback, maybe I consider adding where it breaks or where it touches the EMA and bounces, hopefully. If not, then I'll just have to let this thing ride. But so far, we're trending quite a ways away from the EMA, which is nice to see. If we do get a pullback, hopefully it pulls back to the EMA, and we add from there, then adjust our risk accordingly. Lastly would be PDXP. Whoa, that's a trip. PSXP. Man, I cannot type. PSXP. All right, this one's a slow and steady uptrend. There was really no time for me to add. It's coming up there. What I would do here is I would set my alert, you guys. Set my alert to know when to get out, because I know the stock is uptrending. I don't pay much attention to it, okay, compared to like something like CalX, things like that, okay? I don't pay much attention to it. All I got to do is set an alert right there and set an alert below, and that will be my way of paying attention to the stock, okay, you guys? So with that being said, I hope I can see you guys on Sunday or Monday with brand new picks, and then the end of the week, I can recap those stocks for you guys. I really do hope you guys are learning something from this. This became a longer video than I expected it to be, and I'm very sorry. I just go on tangents all the time. But I really hope you guys learned something. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know what I can do different. If there's anything more you guys want to learn, if there's things you aren't understanding, feel free to holler at me, and I will do my best to make sure you guys can grasp it a little bit. With that being said, you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope to see you guys next week where we can make some money together. Bye.